Let's get to the next topic. Eric, what the hell are we talking about? Pokemon. There's this.
Oh yeah,
possibly a new game that came out. I don't know.
Yeah, there is.
I've started playing it. Fairly simple. What do we think of it so far? If you've played it, what do we like? What do we don't like? And why?
I got it. This is why I'm here. This is why I'm on the show today.
He picked today to come on. He wanted this episode.
Yeah. So whether you may or may not know, I've been very critical of the Pokemon games in the past over the era of the Switch, right? Or it's Switch and Switch 2 at this point. I think Sword and Shield and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are very lackluster. I think that Scarlet and Violet should not exist as video games, and I think Legends Arceus is a great step in the right direction, right? This game, while the graphics are lackluster, they aren't game-breaking by any means, and they're not even, I don't even say that they're even distractingly bad. Like they're just not impressive. That's as far as that goes down. Otherwise, this game fucking rocks. This game rocks, dude. Oh, what's he doing over there? He keeps distracting me. He's like watching basketball or something. Oh, he's got a Diet Pepsi. Anyways, so
he's making me a soda bitch. He's over here like,
he's got the secret code. God, rip it. Come on. No, but these games, like, so they bring all the good parts of Arceus back. So the like live no battle catching is back. The writing and story is better than Arceus at this point, that was like one of the strongest points of Arceus, right? The character customization in this game is so awesome and fun. I mean, it's probably the most in-depth and detailed as it's been in any Pokemon game ever. I've seen so many people, including myself, post things on like Twitter and like showing off how their Pokemon and they're all these different fits. I have yet to see a fit combination kind of duplicated. Like that's how in depth and in detail it goes. But the biggest and best thing about this game so far is the battling, and it's now real-time battle mechanics. So it's kind of like a lot of people have heard they've compared it to Xenoblade, like how combat works there, where there's still like a certain set of moves, and when you use a move, it recharges and it takes some time. But this game does it great. It's fantastic. The beginning of it is a bit of a slog. You give like a 2 to 3 hour tutorial. I know it's awful, but once you get out of that, it's addicting because the battling, the way it works is you're on a timer. Anytime night falls, you're put on a timer. I don't know how long that is in real world, but you are basically going into each of these battle zones and you're battling as many people as you can. And you're like resource managing with like, okay, what Pokemon do I need to put out to sneak attack this? And there's these cards in the battle areas that give you like quests. And it's like, okay, do this specific thing and you get more points and you get more money. And it's like trying to min-max everything so that you're doing like the minimum amount of effort and the minimum amount of turns, and you're getting the most out of every single like move that you do and every single battle that you make. And it's really, really fun. And it has all these multipliers and everything. Anyways, I have yet to have gotten bored of this game. I haven't beaten it yet, but I think I'm close to beating it. I'm going to finish the game on stream this Saturday. But I'm like one rank away from rank A, which is the last one. So I think I'm about to finish the main story. Yeah. The city doesn't get boring to explore. I know that was a big point of contention, that the map is small and the cities, whatever. As the game goes on, there's these wild areas, right? That's where you like catch the Pokemon, but the Pokemon aren't restricted to just the wild areas. You can find them anywhere in the city, and there's like a bajillion side quests and characters that you can find throughout the city that like give you little tasks to do and all that jazz. And the wild areas continue to expand. It's a story point. I won't say why. I don't want to spoil anything of the story. But they continue to expand throughout the city. So the city changes every night. And every night, the battle zone also shifts around the city and changes where it's at in the city. Dang, I bored Prime out of my Pokemon talk. But yeah, that's that's ZA. I am again very, very critical of these games, and this one does it for me, man. This one's a good one. It gives me hope that future Pokemon games are going to go in the right direction. They took more time with this one. And I hope that they see the positive reception to this certain aspects of this game and they take that moving forward. So, but anyways, that's my TLDR review of this game. And yeah, it's fun as hell. And I have it pulled up on my other monitor too, if y'all wanted to see the battle mechanics, because this shit rocks. It's really good. I'm waiting for Prime. Where did he go?
Can I hop in
Yeah,
next?
hop
Yeah.
in.
Let's
Hop
jump
in. Yeah,
over to
please.
Sumbro.
Yeah.
Yes, hop in.
So I got a lot to say about this too. Now, granted, Favlam, I'm not as far as you are. I'm about 8 hours in ish, and so I'm still. I mean, by the time I did side quests and some of the wild zones where I'm at, I'm still early on the ranking up system. But
yeah.
Okay, so first off, this is going to be kind of a fun one to dive into, I think, from the negativity standpoint, because Vlam, you're very positive on it across the board. If you've been looking at the internet's discourse around it,
I know.
You would think
I've made some videos. I got some comments.
You would think it's the biggest burning dumpster fire of a game that has ever graced a $60 or $70 price point.
And I'm like, however, hate for Scarlet and Violet. Anyway,
well, I know I'm with you. Okay, so because that's the thing is like I'll take I'm not a fan of the textures. It's very obvious that the buildings are completely flat and that there were shortcuts taken to 100%. Get this city looking done and playable. And maybe it's not playable for some, but if you cross compare it with Scarlet and Violet and how shitty those ran from a frame rate perspective. I mean, I would take flat textures and now granted, I'm playing on the Switch too, but rock solid 60 FPS with a smooth 4K resolution any day over a more detailed world, maybe, but it can't run it. You know what I mean? But I do get the criticism there, and I can objectively see that, if you just looked at this in the modern gaming landscape, there's some valid critiques. The Game Freak,
I agree.
The city kind of all looks the same. The textures look way too simplistic, and if the graphics are going to be a sticking point for you and why you enjoy a game in 2025, you are going to have that as a problem. But my theory is most of the rage and backlash towards this game are people who haven't actually gotten into it and played the battle system, because that's what this game is trying to sell you. And it's pretty obvious to me that this is way more battle focused than any other Pokemon game has been. Like the whole thing's built around that. At least that's my experience so far. And there is some elements of Arceus I miss, because I do like the bigger open map. I know it's like the city feels dense and it feels like there's a ton to do. But the one thing that I have found myself like critical of so far is the wild zones, at least 8 hours in or whatever. They all feel the same, but laid out slightly differently. And there's not enough variety of environment. And now that was my concern the whole time I was watching the trailers. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like the entire game unfolding in the city. And to be fair, I don't know if that changes late game or if you get like a snowy environment or a desert environment. Probably not is my expectation, but I'd be happy to be proved wrong about that.
I will bite my tongue.
Okay, thank you. I don't know. I mean, like I said, to be fair, I don't know. So there is some stuff and then there's also some small complaints, because like I said, I want to get some of the complaints out of the way first, but I'm actually largely with you on a lot of, because this game's doing a lot right also. But there's some moments. Okay, so the day-night cycle, I like it, but then I hate how you can literally be mid catching a Pokemon that you just damaged to nothing and you threw your Pokeball and it is a forced hard break. Like, okay, now it's the next day, so let's recap everything that happened at night and we're just going to cut you off. Like, that would have been cool if it was a seamless transition that happened in the background. Oh, day is now night, and then you get like that in a pop-up menu to the side, but it doesn't straight up interrupt the gameplay. I don't like how they fragmented it off like that. So there's some things like that, and with the overall just it mainly taking place in the city and the wild zones kind of being my biggest complaint for how I catch Pokemon the majority of the time. They are everywhere in the city, but I don't just like it all happening in the city. That said, where you have the depth and the fun and this is a new Pokemon experience, it is in the real-time battles, because I cannot remember the last time Well, I mean, Legends Arceus was the closest thing to it. I did like the smoothness of the battle transition and the live Pokemon catching and all of that, but this has taken that to another level by a lot. I mean, having every attack that you start to, like, I started to put my attacks on specific buttons, so that way I kind of knew, like, okay, like my Y button is always going to be like my number one most powerful attack out of the gate, and then my B button is going to be, you know, a quick attack to follow up and stuff. You will start to like get a different kind of strategy going in this game that in real time you don't get all the time in the world to think about, am I using the right weakness against this Pokemon, or am I throwing out a Pokemon that's weak against this type that I'm fighting? Like, it feels way more engaging than battle has ever felt in a Pokemon game before. And it 100% feels like the right direction and the natural evolution of the series for me. So I want to see I want to see this battle system in the mainline games.
Yeah.
It may not happen yet, but this is a great, huge first step towards that. And it's really fun. And there's a lot to do. And it's so much fun to like have your Pokemon go attack something on the side, but then like Z target, catch, lock on, and throw another, like literally catch a Pokemon in real time, but then you're still battling this other one. And then once that one gets knocked out, you catch it next. Then you're dodge rolling out of the way of an alpha Pokemon that's trying to attack you. Like, this is the real anime happening in real time. And there's a lot that this game's doing right. So I get the critical stuff online, but I honestly think a lot of it are people who have not played the game yet.
Agreed.
Because if you do play the game, if you play the game and you get past the opening tutorial, which, as Favlam said, is like literally 3 freaking hours. If you get past that, though, this game becomes really fun. And I'd be surprised if many people weren't just way more positive on it if they actually gave it a fair shake.
Yeah.
But
I think the biggest barriers to entry with this game is the price. Just that $70 price tag is definitely something that hurts. And I also think that what was my other point? I'm so sorry. I had it and I lost it. I mean, I agree with you. Everything on all the critiques are valid is the thing. Like, they're valid, but the immense amount of hate online towards people for enjoying this is absolutely absurd. And I think it stems from our like later topic that we have coming up, where there's just been like negative Nintendo grifting that's been happening. And I think this is a subsect of that, both from people being scorned from Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and also whatever this giant campaign almost against Nintendo has been recently. Prime, I want to show some gameplay of the battling system. If you want to let me share my screen, it's okay if not, though. I've tried to pick an area that's like not.
No, go for it, man.
Yeah, my screen share. I think you got to like approve it or whatever.
Oh no, Eric's got it.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. All right, so I'm just gonna. So the battling system is, so you go to an area at night. The top left, the map has a timer. You can't really see it. It's that red ring around the map. There's these cards on the ground. You can pick it up, and it's like, okay, land a poison type move, right? So if you pick a Pokemon that has a poison type move, like my Victory Bell here, I would get points towards that, and it builds towards like my rank card thing that I have. And then there's also the medals, which are basically converted to money. So you can be winning upwards of like, $50,000 per night. The more trainers you beat each night, the more money it multiplies how much money you're going to get at the end of it. And it's really cool. Another cool mechanic of this battle system is you can sneak up on people and get a first hit and just one hit KO.
Or your follow-up attack, if for instance, if you used your strong one on a sneak attack, it's already fully charged, so you get a second go at it the minute you're in battle, which is really cool.
And so it's this, it creates the system that is incentivizing you to battle as many people as possible, which for me personally, the past, I think in almost all Pokemon games, I almost tried to actively avoid battles that were not necessary.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I did the same thing.
And this is the first time I'm like, oh, I want to find every motherfucker in this area, and I want to kick their ass right now. That's the best part about it. And you can dodge, and you can even get hit by the other person's moves, and it can hurt you as a person. There's my character that I have the really cool hairstyle and everything else. That's the other part about it. Love your outfit. Thank you. Hang on, we gotta hit a little pose. Hang on one second. Hit a little. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, serious with my Garchomp. Anyways, that's it. I just wanted to kind of showcase that you can like really basically like run around this entire area, like run through the rooftops or scaffolding here that you can run up through. I don't want to show too much just for trying to not spoil folks, but that's yeah, that's the vibes here. It's super fun, and you can just keep reloading the area and respawning trainers and going and going and going. It's pretty sick.
Fantastic. Sunbro, you got any more thoughts?
No, I think I hit the main ones. I'm having fun with this game, and despite the online negativity around it, and I think some of it's warranted, I think a lot of people are just gonna only look at the negativity of the game and not ever give it a chance and not realize they're passing up on probably the Pokemon game that, from a lot of aspects, not all of them, people have been asking for, which is a dramatic redesign of battle encounters with Pokemon, and it's really fun.
Sweet. Teambird.
Yeah. Listen, this game's awesome. I'm having a blast with it so far. I did make a video on it, and Prime actually streamed my video the other night. I got to watch some of it. It was around dinner time for me, so I got to watch some of it. I did check the reactions, and I think people got a false impression of my early impressions of the game, because I wanted to keep it balanced. Listen, this game's a ton of fun. I'm having a blast playing it. It's been hard for me to put it down at night before bed. So I've been like staying up late on work nights because I want to do a little bit more, or maybe I want to see if I could get a shiny of a Pokemon that I like. That's a really good sign. That being said, I do have some critiques with the game, and my goal in my video was to talk about the things that I like so far, and the things, and this is granted maybe a little bit over 10 hours in, about 11, maybe 12 hours. I play very slow. I kind of try and see everything and do every side quest before I move on to the next story beat. So that's how I've been playing. So the way I did it is I'm like, well, I'm going to draw comparisons to Legends Arceus, because this is a Legends game. It's a spin-off. Yeah. It's not a main gen game. This is a spin-off series. So I'm going to compare it to that game. I will say my early impressions of this game are a lot stronger than my early impressions of Scarlet and Violet for many reasons. But I did a back and forth, pro, con. I gave even pros, even cons. And then I gave a con for both Legends games that made me sad. But I know people thought like, oh, it sounds like you didn't like the game. You just like the combat system. So I'll reiterate here those points. I have a couple extras to make. And I'll do it the same format because it was a lot of fun to kind of do pro, con. The first pro, you guys both already mentioned it right off the bat. The star of the show is the combat. It rocks. It's so much fun. It not perfect. I have had some issues where on a rooftop, like my Pokemon like falls down off the edge, and
I've had that happen too,
which can be a little frustrating at times. But despite that minor occurrence that happens every once in a blue moon, it's just fun. It's active reacting. I love how, because this one's not turn-based, when the trainer switches their Pokemon, in the mainline games, you get they're going to be summoning this Pokemon. Would you like to summon a new Pokemon? And so you get to kind of react to what's happening. They just toss it out on the battlefield, and you're like, oh crap, I got the wrong typing, and you've got to swap on the fly and despawning your Pokemon to avoid attacks. It's just really cool. It has a nice fluid momentum that keeps the battles fast paced. And like Favlam said, it's made it to where like there are times where I kind of wish I could avoid certain battles in previous entries, where it's like I'm battling as much as I can. I'm trying to battle as many trainers as I can before it becomes daytime. That's a good sign, in my opinion. Negative, and this is probably the biggest negative for me. The world design, it's just not as interesting as Arceus. Obviously Arceus, it's this whole new world, sky's the limit. You're traveling the oceans, the mountains, the seas. It gives you that true sense of discovery and adventure and wanting to know what's behind every nook and cranny, even beyond discovering Pokemon. And you just don't have that here. And I know a lot of people are saying like, oh, it's because like, why'd they choose to have it in just one location, just the city? And I don't think that's the issue. I think that's a killer concept. I love that concept. The problem is what that requires is effort that Game Freak doesn't really put into their games, or funding, as far as like all the NPCs being on like a daily schedule, here like the city feeling alive. Maybe every quadrant of the city feels like a different biome. Maybe as the city is getting built up, it's become like way more technologically advanced, and just dramatic changes to the city as you progress. The Pokemon zones, the catch zones, the wild zones in the game, they don't cut it for me. If they had unique biomes, I think that would go a long way. I think the fact that they're just the city, but it's a walled off area. So when they add new ones, as they've been adding, as I've been playing through, I'm like, okay, it's cool. There's a new zone, but like this part of the city already existed. Like nothing's changed other than there's a wall around this park now, and there are Pokemon here. So I feel like if they really dove into making the city feel alive and having unique quadrants and certain districts that are themed after whatever the district. I know the old Lumios wasn't like that, but guys, it's the future, So I think the world was a mess. Positive, and I don't want to talk too long. The momentum, the gameplay, the moment-to-moment gameplay. I love the carrot on the stick type of like checklisty gameplay of this game, with the research missions and the side quests and the ranking stuff. Like there's just so much stuff that even in a small session, I feel like I'm always making progress towards something, not just my Pokedex or evolving my Pokemons. And I love that. I love that I could drop in for 15 minutes and feel like I made progress towards something. There's a lot of goals, and it just keeps the gameplay a lot more fast paced than Arceus, which was it was a much slower paced out game. In some areas, it felt kind of sparse beyond just the Pokemon catching. So I really love that. Another positive, the performance, the game, it's the best running modern Pokemon game, period.
By a lot, especially if you're playing on the Switch too. Yeah.
It's so, and I know it's a silly thing to say, but playing a Game Freak game on Switch 2. I don't know how I'm playing on Switch 2, guys. So I don't know how the Switch 1 performs.
Yeah, so I played it on Switch 1. It's definitely noticeable,
Sure.
especially in comparison to Switch 2. But it's not bad. It's
Sure.
still better than Scarlet and Violet. It's still I would say it runs about the same as like Sword and Shield. It's at 30 frames. It has a little bit more pop-in issue.
Sure.
Something that I noticed is like some of the things in the distance pop in a lot sooner. Like
Right.
a lot, like you have to be a lot closer to them is what I'm trying to say. And the textures, as crazy as it sounds, do get more bland on the Switch version.
Yeah, and so that brings me to my con. And my con, so performance, fantastic. They crushed it, at least on Switch 2.
Yeah.
I've like, there is no 3D Pokemon that's as buttery and creamy experience as this one is. So love to see that. Con, I'm not going to say graphics. I'm going to say what I've said on this podcast throughout the year. It's the art style, folks. Pokemon's art style is bland, uninspired, and boring to me. Yes, I think it's an art style problem. I just think I would love to see, and I think Arceus was a step in the right direction. I think it went for something a little painterly, and I would have loved to see them like lean way harder into that, or something more stylized, whether it's cell shaded, whether they went for like making it look kind of like the OG concept art, that kind of I don't know, like just something to like the world of Pokemon is so whimsical and magical, and the art style for me doesn't convey that. And I would love to see that. I would love to see something that doesn't just look so stale. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I feel like it's a stale art style. I actually think the best art style of the 3D Pokemons is Let's Go, to be honest.
I agree with that.
I think that with Let's Go. I like this. I like the style on that.
Mm-hmm. I think the characters in this game are probably, in terms of art style, are probably the strongest they've ever been. But I see your point in terms of the world itself. Yes, I agree with that. It's tough.
The characters in the world almost blend together. I feel like it's like, I don't know. I do agree that like obviously the characters are way more animated this time around, and I think
Yeah.
that helped a lot. But
I
I
think
don't know.
go ahead.
I
Sorry.
would love to see them just inject more creativity. I'd love to see a Pokemon game that looks nothing like visually anything. It doesn't have to be realism. I don't need fur on my Pikachu. I don't need scales on my Charmander. You know what I mean? I don't want realism in Pokemon. I want it to be, dude, even if it looked like a Ni no Kuni game or something like that. Oh man, that's beautiful. So art style negative. Another positive, the mega battles. They're awesome. They're like the mega battles are so fun. To have something that feels like actual boss fights in a Pokemon game. Hell yes. I'm gonna fly through the rest because I feel like I've been talking forever. These two all bundled together. Voice acting is, for whatever reason, never noticeable in the previous games. I don't know if it's because the characters are more animated this time around, but it's really jarring in this one. At least in the opening cinematic, I thought my game was kind of like bugging. I was like, oh, is my game bugging? I'm like, oh no, of course, there's no talking here. And tied together with that, the sound design, the city, I wish you heard conversations and chatter in the background and cars honking, and it sounds like a city again for that immersion, just like the sound design I wish could be better. Last positive, and this one might be divisive. I love the catching mechanics in this game. Love it. And I love that you can battle a Pokemon and knock them out and get one chance to catch them. And it doesn't make them go away. Dude, there's nothing more frustrating. And I get it with like the high level Pokemon, people want a challenge. But when you're in early game and you just like you accidentally kill a Pokemon in a like early part of the game with a low spawn rate, you're like, really? And then you walk around for like an hour just to find that Abra again,
Yeah.
So obnoxious. So that was a huge win for me. I hope that's something that goes into the main line. And then this last negative so far, and again, I'm still early in the game. And this one, I know Prime had some issue with, and I've got some counter arguments to whatever he pulls out of his ass for this one if he wants to come at me for it. This is a complaint against both Arceus and Z-A. And I know people might disagree in the comment section. This is my personal preference, so this is just me. The lack of gyms in both games for me is a big miss. Arceus, I feel like the thought of incorporating into that setting the creation of the very first gyms and stuff just sounds so cool, and breaking up the pace and having those monumental battles against memorable characters, I just think would have been really, really awesome. When Z-A got announced, I was like, heck yes, we're gonna get gyms now. It's in the city. What do gyms even look like in the future? What's the gym experience gonna be this much far ahead?
I think it's Globo Gym, right? That's what gyms look like in the future.
Right. So, and I know people are going to say, well, you don't need gyms because the core mechanic of the game is ranking from Z to A. But and I love that mechanic. But, and again, I'm early, so I don't know what changes. I mean, I've flown through the bottom ranks, and I don't know. I feel like they could have incorporated gyms into this game in a really clever or creative way. And even off the top of my head, thinking about I just did the time skip, so that's where I'm at in this. Or not?
Okay, that makes more sense. I fear that opinion will change as you play more. That's all I'll say.
And that's fair. These are just early impressions. So
there are some very colorful characters that are very gym leader-esque that you have to eventually.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I've been like battling like taxi drivers and cooks.
Yeah, no, which is
right.
So
I mean, that is the early ranks.
Yeah,
they're not serious.
Exactly.
For sure. But real quick, I just want to finish this point real quick. I would have loved to see them do something where like gyms exist, like the future of gyms exist in this game, but they have precursor ranks. You're not allowed to enter the gym unless you've hit a certain rank or something like that. I think would have been really cool. But I also think it's a good way to weave in new story elements and also break up the pace. Even though I love the fast paced nature of it, gyms are just staples for me. And like I heard Prime say last night, because I know Prime came at me. I'm going to call you out on this one. You were like, what's the big deal with gyms, everybody? And you were saying that we've had gyms in the like 99 out of 100 Pokemon games. So what's the big deal? To that I say, yes, while that is true, I still love that staple. And when we didn't get traditional dungeons in Breath of the Wild, I felt like, man, I would love it if this game had traditional dungeons. When if I love the Persona series, if we got a new Persona game that didn't have the social elements, one of my favorite staples of the series, I'd probably still love the game and have a blast, but I'd still wish, even though the previous entries all have the social stuff, I'd probably be like, I would have liked them to bring back the social stuff. So sometimes there's core staples in a series that you just love. And for me, gyms are one of those things that I love. And I would love to see them evolve the puzzle mechanics leading up to the gym boss. Figuring out some of those, like Sabrina's gym and stuff back on the Game Boy days was like, that's so memorable. So I don't know.
Yeah. One quick, like a super quick one. The writing in this game, it is hilarious. Like the deeper and deeper you get into this game, there are some genuine moments where I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, it's so fun. Like, and also just the way the characters talk to each other it's very like matter of fact and very like, this is very Gen Z coded. Like, I don't know. I don't know how else to explain it other than like, it just felt like, it felt like somebody my age or even younger wrote this dialogue or like translated this dialogue or whatever. This rocks. This is cool. Anyways, that's my other like positive I wanted to throw in there. I found really cool. Experience.
I have one last point just to wrap up this or tie the bow on this one is that with all those positives and critiques or maybe some negatives, I'm having so much fun. Like I said, it's been really hard for me to put this down. I'm early on. I got not only did Favlam just say some of that stuff changes later game. I've had comments on my video let me know like, oh, I think you're going to be happy with some of the stuff that you see that changes as you get further. Some of my things that are negatives might just like completely flip and be positives. My experience is better than Scarlet and Violet so far. I'm really having fun. It's not perfect, but I really love this Legends series that they've created. My hope for this series going forward is that they use this to experiment with Pokemon. I feel like no Legends games should feel like the last. As much as I would have loved to see them build on Arceus and fill it out with gyms and voice acting and more towns and populate it, like we're gonna have the mainline stuff for that. They've already gone the open world for the mainline. Experiment and then listen to the people. Take what works. Take the cool battle system, take the exploration of the first Legends games and inject that into the mainline, the new gens, and create the best of both worlds for us. So who's to say where I'll land on this one? This could be like a 7 out of 10 for me, could be a 9 out of 10 for me. I won't know till I get there. Right now, all I can say is despite my critiques, I'm having so much fun. And the moment I get off this podcast, I'll be booting the game up. So I hope everyone out there who's playing, I hope you guys are having fun too. And special prayers from the Game Bird. I hope you all receive the shiny of your dreams.
True.
Yeah. Well, I was originally going to go Stash next, but to be fair, I kind of have to let Prime go next so he can defend his honor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry. Was someone talking the last 20 minutes?
Damn.
I was on mute. The only reason I even know I'm supposed to go is because Eric is technically sitting right next to me. I'm busy with the bucket of victory here. So what are we talking about again? Oh, right. Hey, there's a ticker. It reminds me. Legends Z-A. Fuck gyms. So
real and based.
Okay, so wait, 2 people on this podcast hate gyms.
I don't hate gyms. I just don't. I'm okay with them not being in the game. Like it's not a deal breaker for me. It's not a deal breaker.
Exactly. Well, earlier at the gym. Yeah.
Guys, come on now. I never said it was a deal breaker. I just said I miss gyms and I wish gyms were in the game.
I'm okay with if 2 out of the last like
were gyms
20
in the last
Pokemon
Pokemon
games,
game?
in Scarlet and Violet, yes.
No, I was
Yes.
asking Gamebird.
Oh my bad,
Yeah,
sorry.
absolutely.
It's only been one game.
Yeah.
I give a shit.
But again, like I said, I missed traditional dungeons. It was only one game. In
Yeah, you
Breath
were
of the
wrong
Wild.
then too.
Okay, fair enough. Tell that to
No, I disagree.
you
Traditional
divine beast
dungeons,
shill.
yeah, traditional dungeons were missing from Breath of the Wild, and they'll never not be missing. We just
you.
accept that it's still also an awesome game without them, but
Yeah.
they will forever be missing. And I can see the gym argument personally, but I'm also not missing them yet, so I'm a little indifferent on that.
Sure.
I'm gonna
That's-
say something
yeah.
about gyms.
No one asked you. I'm just kidding.
Well, actually, you
Please
did.
come back to the show. I'm just kidding.
So, look, I'll get to my thoughts on ZA in a moment, but I just want to say about gyms. First off, I'm not like the biggest Pokemon guy. Okay.
Sure.
Everyone knows this. It is what it is. Fell out of love with the series after Gen 2, basically. But I loved Legends Arceus. Loved it a lot. That dude, I can give 2 shits about gyms in that game, man. That game was about world. That was all about building a world. And it's funny too, like when we talk about gyms, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I'm not a Pokemon expert. Isn't it 1 gym per town, per city? So like, how would that even work with gyms in this game when it's only 1 city anyways?
Yeah, the gym. There is in this city. There was the 4th gym leader. I forget his name.
Easy.
But he was a little electric gym leader, but it was only
Towns, precincts, streets.
one. Yeah.
I run
Oh,
these
you could.
streets.
Yeah, you could break it up by district,
I
right?
run these streets.
Would I be right though? You could do it like that.
Well, that's not a gym then. That's just gangs, and you're just
So
trying
you
to
could
put
have a
the gangs
gym
down.
that runs the streets,
Yeah, that's a gang. They call it a gang stash.
but you could call it that in this game, no problem.
But then
This isn't as big as a hurdle as you think it is what I'm saying.
What guys, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm confused. I want to make sure I'm not giving bad information on the podcast. Someone in my chat keeps saying over and over again to stop saying it's a spin-off, that it's a mainline game. Did I miss something?
Legends games
mainline?
are
yeah,
Legends games are mainline games. Yes.
yes.
So is this
They
Gen 10?
they constantly
No.
no, they don't define a new generation. A new generation is like brand new Pokemon come to the forefront. But these games do tie in and directly reference and are influenced by the main series. Excuse me, the main games that had come before it. But the Legends games are main series games. They are just the more experimental games that are
Think of it
running.
like Black and White, and then Black and White 2.
Is
Those are both mainline. One
So
follows.
is this like I'm genuinely curious. Is this like a Game Freak confirming, or is it just because it's within the same
They say
canon?
that when they first introduced
Okay.
Arceus, they said this is a new mainline series
Got it.
that we
Okay.
are running in parallel to the classic turn-based whatevers. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's not the Gen 10.
Yeah,
No.
typically if it's a spinoff, it's the fact also it's in-house Game Freak, right? So
Right.
most of the spinoffs aren't done. They're only either partnered with Game Freak and they only do like half of the work, or it's completely outsourced to like Creatures Inc.
Got
or a
it.
different company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool deal.
So, like, spin-off
Everyone, I
the-
apologize for saying spin-off games. I stand corrected. I didn't know. I honestly
No,
didn't
it's
know.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you for calling it a spinoff. It's very different from what we've seen. So
Okay,
But yeah.
so back to me. The
Back to
only
you.
one that matters right now is called upon, and everyone's just interrupting me. I do that. The amount of times I've interrupted people, I have this coming. Okay, it's cool if I can't even talk this whole topic. Because yeah, I'm not a Pokemon guy. So setting the gym stuff aside, we can have that debate a different day. I just don't feel like it's worth talking about it now, because I also feel like to have the gym conversation where like he's missing it in ZA, I feel like we have to beat the game before we really realize.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it's not worth having the conversation yet on that. We can have it with Legends Arceus, but that's like not the conversation today. So
yeah.
For Legends ZA, I'm not that far into the game for starters. I actually think me and Eric are probably at the same point in the game, are very close. I might be slightly ahead of him.
I think you're slightly ahead of me.
Yeah, slightly ahead of him. Because I just haven't had a lot of time to play, which is totally fine. It's pretty typical of me. I don't have a ton of time to play. And again, I'm not a Pokemon guy, so I'm not going out of my way to make time to play, right? I will do that for games like Zelda or something like that. I'm not going to do that for Pokemon because I'm not huge into Pokemon, but I've live streamed it a little bit. Had some fun with that. I'll just say that, yeah, graphically it sucks. I mean, there's not really,
Yeah.
if anyone thinks the game looks gorgeous, then you only play Pokemon games. I'm not
No,
even.
that's
I'm
fair.
not even
It's
kidding.
fair too. It's
Yeah,
not.
I'm not
Nobody
even
should be
kidding.
arguing with that statement.
Yeah, it's not even a joke. For some reason, there's like this confusion online that I'm like defending the art style. No, I think the art style is a little dated, and
Yes.
I think that the graphics are terrible. That said, graphics aren't why I play games. Now, for some people, graphics are some of the most important reasons they play games. So, to that end, I say I understand. If you really care about visuals, because visuals to you immerse you in the world and create a sense of cohesion and connection, I get it. Pokemon's probably never been the series for you, especially the last 8 years since it went to 3D. It's never been visually impressive, in my estimation, from the moment it came to Switch. Whether it was Let's Go, whether it was Sword and Shield, Arceus, Scarlet and Violet, and now Z-A. None of these games are visually impressive. And I know a lot of people feel like, okay, well, there's no excuse for it because $150 billion franchise. What the hell are we doing? And I don't even disagree with you. You're not wrong. This is one of the biggest IPs in the world. They should make it look better. However, that's not why I play games. So gameplay to me has always trumped visuals. And this is actually true across all of gaming, regardless of how much discourse you see online. The most popular games in the world aren't that great looking. Roblox, Fortnite, Minecraft. These are not like visually impressive games. And yes, some of the visuals have got better over time. I know Fortnite looks better today than it did back in the day. I know Minecraft, they've updated it and looks better. Doesn't matter. The point is, people are still playing it on things like Switch 1 where it can't look like that. And they don't care. I know this. I have kids that play on Switch 1 and they don't care. They don't care that it looks better on my Switch 2 or that it looks better on the Xbox or the PC. They just don't care. That's not why they play. They're not playing for visuals. So that's the big thing to remember because I've always called Pokemon, regardless of me being a 39-year-old man playing Pokemon, kids first RPG. It's always been that way for me. It's what it was for me when I was a kid. And as I've dabbled in Pokemon over the years, even as I fell out of love with it, it still always felt like, well, I fell out of love with it because I played better RPGs than Pokemon. And that's because those RPGs grew up with me. Final Fantasy grew up with me. You know, these RPGs have grown up with me and become more mature in terms of their battle mechanics, their storytelling, and everything in between. Pokemon never did. Pokemon has just been kind of, I don't want to say the same. They've obviously made tweaks and did different things and the Mega Evolutions, all this other stuff. I'm not an expert on Pokemon. But the point is, it always felt very simplistic. I know it can get really hardcore with the multiplayer scene. I've never given a shit about that. I played it for the RPG aspect, which is the single player aspect. And from the single player aspect, it's been a kid's first RPG, pretty much to me anyways, my entire life. So when I approach it from that perspective, you realize, well, the visuals then don't really matter that much because kids don't give a shit about it either. So what do I think about the rest of the game? Like, can I have fun with a game that looks like shit? Well, let me tell you, I enjoy Fortnite. So yes, I can enjoy games that look like shit. And I was playing it on Switch 1 at like 18 FPS. And doing pretty well because they kept partnering me with like people that were playing it on phones. And while it runs better on the phone and looks better on the phone, you're using touch controls. Come on, buddy. I'll kick your ass with 18 FPS with twin sticks. That said, no, for real though, I've really enjoyed the battle system. That's really the big thing that stands out is the battle mechanics. It's kind of like with, Arceus, where it was the catching mechanics that really stood out. And then they kind of built this, raw world around it, and even had the thing where you were like building up the town. I enjoyed all of that. It's actually my favorite Pokemon game. I'm no longer a Gen 1er, guys. Arceus is my favorite Pokemon game. I didn't even think that was possible. And ironically, it has no gyms. That said, when we're talking about Z-A, the battle system's been fantastic. And so far, the storytelling has actually been pretty solid. Definitely a step up from what I'm used to with Pokemon. Still not like fantastic or great. This isn't Xenoblade. Hell, this isn't even Zelda. But it's a step up from what I'm used to with Pokemon games, where there's not really much to the story. It's, hey, we tell you the big goal at the very beginning. That's pretty much it. That's the story. Yeah, there's some little side quests and stuff in between sometimes, especially in Scarlet and Violet. They put a lot of side quests and they have multiple main story things you could do, but still wasn't that like complicated or like that interesting to me. Although for some of you, it probably was. So Legends of Z-A, the story feels really good to me. There's other things that really bug me though, and this is less about the graphics. The NPC animations. This is a city. I've been to many a city. People don't just stand there.
Yeah, a lot of them are very stagnant. Yeah.
Which, by the way, sure, that's what it was like in the top-down games. You know, that's fine. 2D environment, Game Boy, limited ability to do things. This is a 3D game running at 60 FPS. I think 4K on Switch too. I'm not quite sure on the resolution. I haven't checked, but
it's upscaled, but it is 4K. Yeah,
it looks really clean on my TV.
4K 60. It's awesome. Yeah.
So like that means, at least on Switch 2, and on Switch 1, I've heard it's pretty like a very rock solid 30, 1080p 30. So I'm like, that's good. So it's running very smoothly on Switch as well, just not at 60 FPS. That to me means there's headroom to do more. Well, okay, if you're going to do the flat texture buildings and you're going to do all the things that just don't look good visually, why not have the NPCs actually feel like they are alive? They might as well just be blocks from Minecraft that I walk up and randomly talk to. Because outside of battles, they basically don't exist as people. That's like my number one complaint about the game. Isn't the graphics, it's how dead the NPCs feel. Even more dead than Scarlet and Violet, which is weird to me. But the NPCs in Scarlet and Violet, a lot of them moved. They were talking to people. They did things. I'm in just a city, and these people aren't moving. I literally saw it in the opening scene when you get off the train. You guys remember, we're watching me live stream. I stopped for a second, and I said, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people standing in the exact same way with no motion and no life. Did I get to a city, or did I just walk into the morgue? And that's what it was. Literally my first interaction with NPCs.
Even worse, it was the city morgue.
City morgue. Yeah. So that's been my number one complaint so far. Is like it just doesn't feel like a city. And I'm not saying that as I get deeper in, like it won't open up and there won't be more stuff to do. Like I'm hearing, you guys talking about, there's all this stuff to do once you get past the tutorial and the certain part, and the tutorial being as long as it is. Come on, guys. Come on.
What rank are you, Prime, by the way?
No, don't even ask me my rank.
Oh, okay. So you're still pretty.
I'm not Z. I'll tell you that. I'm not Z.
Well, it gives a good gauge both for listeners
I am not very
and for us here.
I've only seen 2 wild zones, so that should let you know. I've only had one night.
So you're like,
why would you be asking
super early?
Yeah.
I am super early. So I'm not going to say the world isn't alive and that there's stuff to do, because there probably is. I don't actually doubt that there's probably a lot of stuff to do. Especially when I was watching your gameplay there for a moment that you were streaming earlier for Vlam. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looked like there was a lot of stuff going on. That's good. I'm happy about that. But the NPCs were still stoic. They still weren't really alive.
I agree.
And so for me, and I guess people can relate this to graphics, is people do this like the world building isn't there. It just kind of feels like a fan-made game that just nailed it with the battle mechanics so far. Like, we have the coolest battle system ever, and we didn't do anything else. And it's weird. I'll also say I've experienced one cutscene so far that felt very weird. And it felt weird because it's the first time I played a Pokemon game where it actually felt like there probably should be voice acting.
Yep.
It's like they made the cutscene for voice acting. They even surprisingly animated it really well, considering how unanimated the NPCs are.
Yeah.
But then it just doesn't have it. It's weird.
It's It's awkward. It's a little awkward in the game, but for whatever reason, I don't know why. It was that first the opening cutscene for me that was like,
Yeah.
something. It almost felt like the game because it's a quiet nighttime scene, and you see the two characters talking at the beginning. And it's like something's wrong. What happened? What happened to my game? You know.
Yep. Also,
They should at least do the banjo sound effects.
another thing I noticed,
Yeah, at least the
Sound
grunts or
effects would
something.
go a long way, honestly. If
yeah.
they weren't ready for voice acting, just doing those simple sound effects and not make it totally
doing what
radio
they did
silent.
in Donkey Kong Bonanza, besides Pauline, everyone else is like, ooh, yeah,
Mhm.
fine. At least it shows some light. So that's a thing. And then the only other thing, and maybe this improves later, I don't know. You guys can tell me, or if Vlam could definitely tell me. Another thing that doesn't make it feel like a city is I don't hear any city sounds.
Yeah.
Oh, that
cars
doesn't-
honking.
No, that doesn't change. That's still.
Yeah. No city sounds. Where are the cars driving around? Why are all the cabs just sitting on the side?
To
Not
be fair,
moving?
it is Paris. It's a walkable city, but I'm just kidding. No, I agree with you. There should be more. There should be more like more ambient sounds that give life to the game. I'm with you. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that doesn't improve later on.
Yeah.
I
There should be
agree.
a rollerblading tournament in the city.
Yeah, they do need to bring like in the original games you actually rollerbladed around. That's like a thing instead of the bike you have rollerblades. So they should have brought that back.
Yeah.
I do think
They
one thing
they should have also brought back Wave Race as well. but-
I want to chime
Neither
in
here nor
real
there.
quick on some of Prime's points because you make a lot of valid points, but I think like it is like Game Freak is kind of this studio, and it's not giving them a pass, but it feels like they're developing a handheld game for a home console, essentially. Like they've always this feels like a way more up-resed, better version of a world you would create on a 3DS, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean the graphics look as bad as that, because I'm talking like, but it does still feel like they're developing for like a handheld console first, but we're playing this on 4K TVs right now. And I mean, I'm just saying, I think if that is kind of where they're aiming, like it seems like they continued the handheld series into hybrid, and they always kind of felt like just better versions of the handheld games. Like what people I think are wanting is their Breath of the Wild breakout moment, giant new experience. I think the battle system gets close to creating a kind of excitement of that in ZA, but when it comes to the world and how things actually work and interact, it's still got all of the same Game Freak limitations we've been dealing with for most of the franchise in the modern era.
I just recorded a video about this that I plan to have out this weekend because I think there's a lot of confusion on how Pokemon Company International, Nintendo, and Game Freak all interact and how they make these games, right? Because there was a recent leak of a lot of like Pokemon Game Freak information, their timeline for the next 5 years, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
But some of the budget information was also leaked. And which
was way off, right? I mean, the initial figures. Yeah. The budget that was initially released, it was Necro Felipe that came out later and talked about reading through further parts of those were like initial starting budgets. Like he actually gave an example, like Scarlet and Violet ballooned to like 5 times what it started out with its initial.
Oh, really? I didn't. That
pitch
part I didn't
deck
see.
type of thing. Yeah, there's some follow up to it because I know what initially blew up and got covered because I covered that and right whenever it happened. But then there was like the next day, like I made like a correction to that part because those budgets, a lot of them are 4 or 5x what the first numbers were that came out, which are still low to be fair, but I don't think that they're not as low as what they looked like on the surface.
Well, the numbers I saw were like the couple, like some I saw as low as like 14 mil, and then I saw some up to like 20 something mil. Is that the low end?
Those are the low end. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, well that helps me.
We're talking 60,
I gotta fix that on my
80.
video.
Yeah, 60, 80, 100 million in that range on some of them is what it sounded like it ended up being.
And that's still like a relatively
very cheap,
low number for the type of games and the kind of sales they make. Which I mean, they don't make they don't make their money off of the games. They make their money off of the merchandise, the cards, the everything else, right? But the thing that bites Game Freak in the ass that most people don't recognize is that the Pokemon Company International and them in that machine of like, okay, we have to have the next region out Gen 10 by this date because we need to sell the next, TV show, the next plushies, the next whatever's, right? This is all a giant machine that can't be slow. We can't put this on stop, right? And it ends up making these insane production cycles of like, they have to basically make a Pokemon game in 2 years.
Right.
And so it's not, again, this isn't to give Game Freak a pass, but even with a very large budget, 2 years is not a long time to make a video game. Like, you have most gaming studios taking half a decade to make big AAA titles, much less, So just to take all that with a grain of salt when you see a Game Freak game, it's like, okay, is it really Game Freak or is it more the Pokemon Company International or is it the whole system at large? But yeah, anyways, just a little education there for you guys, because I feel like a lot of people are immediately blaming Nintendo, and Nintendo actually has like no part in the Pokemon process at all, other than that they have a little bit of ownership in it. That's it. They don't like define timelines. They don't give like extra money and resources, at least that we know publicly. They all that kind of stuff.
And to be fair, and we are talking about this in comparison to other games that we maybe get one entry in the franchise every 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
And that is not the case with the Pokemon Company. It's legitimately quite the opposite, 2 to 3 years apart. And we got DLC Scarlet and Violet, a couple years, the end of a couple years ago, is it, or was it last year? No,
it was like a year after release of Scarlet and Violet. So probably like 24.
Yeah. And if you believe those Game Freak leaks and everything, it seemed like this was originally going to be an end of 2024 game and got pushed to 2025.
Yeah.
And I remember making a video the middle part of last year talking about the fact that we haven't gotten any updates on Legends EA. Like, maybe it is like at least a little bit reassuring, and seeing that maybe they're going in the right direction to just take their extra time with the game instead of cranking them out on that stupid quick schedule.
Wait, Scarlet Violet, you said it came out last year?
No. Scarlet, the DLC. When did the DLC?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it 2 years ago that the DLC wrapped up in the beginning of?
Yeah, that sounds right.
We're either a year and a half out or 2 years out from the DLC, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah. Anywho, sorry. That's all I have to say about Pokemon now at the point.
Okay.
We got to hear from the stash guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want me to go, I'll go.
Yeah.
I do. I really do.
Okay, I'll be quick. I have notes. Okay, so I have several reviews and embargoes lined up. Okay. Games I can't even talk about. Like, literally, they said do not talk about it on podcast. So very, very busy, because again, you guys know this as content creators, but I am a one-man show. So to be able to play all these games, beat them, write a review, record a review, edit a review, do all the other shit you got to do, it's a lot. I'm working like 16-hour days at least, maybe more. I'm barely sleeping. So I'm trying my best to get everything out. With that said, just as a matter of respect and professionalism, when I get a review code, that's what I play. I don't play what I want to play because that's the right thing to do as a business partner. Good or bad, whether the review is good, whether it's bad, you review the game first, because they gave you a review code and that's what's expected. There's a cost attached to that, right? So with that said, I have not played it. However, I will show you this. I do have my Pokemon Legends desk mat, and I have my plush from the Pokemon Center.
Nice.
That will not be opening, obviously.
Good call.
Yeah,
Sweet.
so I want to play it. My heart's
man.
there.
And
However, I will say that I played the game 3 times at PAX, and that is important. And some of you might say, well, it's a demo. And I have to preface that demos are built to show you the selling point of the game. Okay, that's why demos exist. And so, yes, I did play the demo. I played it 3 times. So I got the selling point 3 times. The selling point is the battle system. Okay. And that's exactly what I said in my impressions. I think that's what we all said. Anyone who played it early, the biggest takeaway is the battle system, because you can actually move now. It's live action, which is excellent. So that's where I'm at on that. In that, look, I loved what I played, and I have a few other notes in that. Look, I don't care if anyone wants to quote this and talk shit. I could care less. I truly could not. I do not play Pokemon games for graphics. Now, I want to take this a step further, though. Okay. I don't play any video game for graphics. I never have. I never will. The graphics are nice. It's a nice bonus.
Not
Now,
even
look,
water.
I have a review template that I built for my reviews when I decided to review games. Okay. Those are gameplay and controls, story and presentation, pacing and challenge, content, music, graphics, fun factor, replayability. Those all matter. Graphics don't outweigh any of that. Graphics is at the end. I still play The Legend of Zelda on regular Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah.
I still play my regular Nintendo and love it. My Super Nintendo. 2 of the biggest pieces of hardware that I am most hyped for this year, outside of Switch 2, it's not the Xbox handheld. Okay, it's the Analog 3D, and it's the M64 by Mod Retro. It's the 4K Nintendo 64s. I'm really excited about that, to be able to play N64 games on the full screen, not letterbox, and to make sure there's no input lag, even though I have the proper equipment to completely reduce the input lag. I have the RetroTink 5X. So point is that I just want it to be cleaned up a little bit so it actually looks clear. It's like turning on a Nintendo Wii on a 4K TV. It is very blurry, and there's no adjustment to my glasses that can fix that. That's all I would want. Okay, is cleaner text, little things like that. Things that a HD texture pack fixes, that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm at with this whole Pokemon debate on graphics. And I just don't know why this debate continues outside of getting clicks. I believe that's all it's for. I do believe that the people complaining do not play video games.
Yeah.
Or they're not playing this game. I really do. The majority have not played the game. And look, this isn't just Pokemon. Yes, Pokemon's hyper when it comes to that because it has a huge following. If you put in hashtag Pokemon on a post, you see how many millions there are versus something else. And that's why they do it, for the clicks, for the algorithm. Okay. Like, it's obvious. You know what I mean? Same thing with Mario. Why do you think everyone talks shit about Nintendo? Nintendo has the most fans. They have the highest hashtags on everything. The algorithm's the highest. Like, this is all common sense stuff, though, that I don't even need to look up.
Sure.
Okay. Like, I know this stuff and I don't look at analytics, and you know this. But again, this should be common sense. So the reason Nintendo gets all this hate and pushback, which again, we'll get into in the next topic, but Pokemon leans right into it. Like, you can't talk about that without talking about this other topic. So I think it's all a bunch of bullshit. I always have. I've seen this for years, for decades. Bro, I played the first Pokemon. I bought it when it came out. I played since. Nate, like you said, it's all about the graphics, and or not about the graphics, but the gameplay. It's all about the gameplay. And I said this too earlier, like all those things that I review games
Someone
on.
clip that.
That explains why he doesn't like it. It's all about the
about
graphics
the
for him.
gameplay.
Someone please clip that.
But it's like,
Please.
there's so many more things to a video game, right?
Yeah, that's
And
why
not
I
only
was
that,
saying.
but we didn't even talk about art style, Gamebird, and about the difference between how important art style is. Because like you look at Wind Waker, aged
Dude,
like a fine
to
wine
me-
because of that art style.
Yeah, to me, Wind Waker, no joke, the original, the GameCube version, is
Yeah.
to this day one of the best looking games I've ever seen. It literally still looks like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Does.
That's why I was so strong to emphasize, like, there's not a graphics problem. I just think the art style of modern Pokemon's bland. And I think just changing that, just giving it a little more personality, people would stop complaining about the graphics, because it's not the graphics. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Graphics
and
are low.
I
on the
thought it
totem
looked
pole.
great playing it at
Yeah.
PAX. It's smooth. Again, we've talked about this a lot too when it comes to choosing performance mode, right? Versus a graphics mode or fidelity. I'm always going to choose performance. Why? Because performance affects gameplay and it can improve it.
Yep.
So again, like, this is nothing new though. And if people can't understand that logic, oh well. I'm not here to sell you on me. And I don't care if you don't like what I have to say. I never will. Like, that is honestly, that's how I operate. You know what I mean? So like, I see a lot of people that are like a little nervous to say certain things. I've seen that on YouTube. Like, guys, you're fine. Screw these people. You'll never meet them. You don't know them. There's chronic complainers everywhere on the internet. I coined that phrase like 20 years ago. It's so relevant today. Chronic complainers. I talked about it all the time in the workplace. Do we want people like that working here? Do they help the business? No. It's the same thing, except we're on the internet now and we have to see it every day. You don't even have to work where I work with that same employee who's a chronic complainer. Now they get to voice their opinion every day on the internet. This is why, though, I spend little time on social media. I reply to my YouTube comments. I do some stuff on Twitter. I check the news mainly. Otherwise, I'm not engaging with anybody. Unless they're cool and I get to know them, which I do have subscribers like that. And you guys, obviously.
Mhm.
That's my point. You get so much of that shit with Pokemon. And really, they should just focus on what? What's the one thing they should focus on? Catching them all.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Keep it simple, silly.
Yep.
I like
That's right. The KISS method.
Mhm.
Damn straight.
Okay.
I'll wrap up real quick. Just to give my points. One of my biggest gripes so far is like, I'll be sneaking up on somebody and go to attack and tell my Pokemon to attack. All of a sudden the trainer turns around and then I'm like not fully into the attack mode yet. All of a sudden they have the advantage. Like, but how? There's no way that they should have the advantage. I'm
Just
sitting
like
here,
real life.
right? It's like they should still be like, oh my god, you're here. Wait, type of thing. It's just it's happened to me a few times where I've sent out my Pokemon to attack with at first, and all of a sudden they turn around and it's like, no, all of a sudden they got the advantage. Like, why? This is dumb. One thing with gyms, I think it would have been kind of cool to work that kind of gym-esque thing into like your ranking going into the different ranks. Now it just feels like you're battling some random person. It's like, okay, who is this and why does it matter that I'm battling this specific person to go to the next rank type of thing? It just feels a little arbitrary.
It's very, like, I love pasta, let's battle.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But that being said, I mean,
That might be a line in the game for the record.
It could, yeah, it totally could be.
Yeah, right. That being said, I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan either, but I am having fun. So it's one of those that I'll probably keep playing. So it's doing its job so far. And that's all I got to say about that.